Raindrop bodies for automobiles. Popular mechanics. March 1925. Streamlined automobile bodies, motors at the rear instead of under a front hood, and other radical changes are among the developments promised for the near future by both native and foreign automobile designers. The raindrop body, completely streamlined to reduce air resistance to the lowest possible point, is already attracting considerable attention abroad and is being manufactured both in England and Germany. If the new school of design catches the popular fancy, and its proponents believe it will because the fully streamlined body is rational, they say, the motorcar of the near future will at last escape from all vestige of the buggy and horse-drawn carriage motif. Starting out with a 1- or 2-cylinder engine built under an ordinary one-seated buggy, automobile builders became so firmly enmeshed in the tradition that they have never fully freed themselves of it. The first automobiles had buggy dashboards, buggy lamps, carriage wheels, and it wasn't much more than 20 years ago that one automobile designer put a car on the market equipped with a whip socket. The evolution of the automobile proceeded rapidly, but always with the impress of carriage builders' designs. The dashboard evolved into an instrument board and cowl, and a hood projected in front of it to cover the engine, which in the early days was such an uncertain quantity that it must needs be placed at the point of greatest accessibility. Straight lines and alleged streamlines which paid little attention to streamline principles replaced the more elaborate curves and angles of family carriage days. But the automobile still kept the same general contour laid down by the first builders who entered the new field. In the meantime, a new industry was rising to build airplanes, and for the first time, exact studies were made of streamlines and wind resistances. Scientists were employed, and wind tunnels constructed, and the mysteries of the invisible air currents charted into an exact science. Now it is proposed to put that accumulated knowledge to work to build automobiles which shall be faster and cost less to operate than anything seen heretofore. The engine, to begin with, is in a fair way of being relegated to what is described as its natural position, over the rear axle. Modern motors do not require such constant attention as to make extreme accessibility necessary. The starter has displaced the crank, and in short, the principal reasons for having the engine under a front hood are gone. Next, the falling raindrop is being reproduced in wood and steel, just as it was in wood and fabric for the airplane, and the result made into comfortable automobile bodies. The latest thing in streamlining is designed to eliminate not only the vacuum drag against the rear of a car, but the power-absorbing swirls in the air, which cut down speed and leave clouds of dust floating behind. The new bodies slip through the atmosphere with so little disturbance that the air currents slide back into place, and the dust is hardly raised above the road. The science of streamlining is founded on natural phenomena, the graceful curves produced in running water as it slips around a stick or other obstruction, for example. Most people have watched a stream as it is divided by a bridge pier or rock or perhaps a fixed snag, only to slip quietly together again. Nature likewise has produced a perfect streamlined body obstacle as it acts in the same way as water. It is true that air is nearly 1,000 times less dense than water, but the surface presented by a motor car is almost 1,000 times bigger than that offered by a fish, and a car moves at a much higher rate of speed, so that the reaction of the displaced air on an automobile in motion is proportionately much greater than that of water on a swimming fish. Wind-cutting shapes, torpedo bodies, and boat-shaped designs for racing cars have been used by automobile builders for several years, but the airplane wind tunnel tests show that almost without exception, they are scarcely more than a matter of fashion, and hardly take into account the lines of least resistance. Bodies which seem to cut the wind actually offer practically the same air resistance as rectangular bodies, according to Jarret, one of the leading European designers, who for 10 years has helped improve Zeppelin designs. His investigations show the wind resistance of an ordinary car going at 22 miles an hour eats up 60% more power than a streamlined body on the same chassis. At 40 miles, the wind resistance increases the power consumption by 90%, and at 50, the excess energy used because of resistance of the atmosphere is 110%. He concluded there was only one way to effectively streamline a car, and that was to enclose every part, even the wheels, in one streamlined body. Wind tunnel experiments indicated that the greater volume of air displaced by a car should pass over it, while the air near the ground must remain horizontal, so as to stir up no dust. Eventually, he worked out a shape which approximated the upper half of a dirigible, cut on a horizontal plane and placed as near the ground as possible. Actual tests showed wind resistance of 1/4 to 1/3 that of ordinary bodies. That means that when a 16 horsepower car is running at an average speed of 22 miles an hour, or when a 40 horsepower car is running at an average of 31 miles, a saving of close to 30% of fuel is affected. At higher speeds, the saving runs as much as 40–50% or more. The result is that the driver who slows down when passing through villages and towns and then speeds up on open stretches to keep his average rate normal actually saves more fuel than if he had maintained the average speed for the entire distance. Cars with the new bodies which have been operated in Berlin and London have attracted considerable attention because of the peculiar design, but the builders deny that the machines look freakish. They rest their claims on the assertion that if nature had ever built a motor car, she would have taken the same design they have adopted, to get the greatest efficiency.